Tonight, evidence from a nearly decade-old barbershop shooting is now being dug up in the historic YSL trial involving rapper Young Thug. Atlanta News First, Rachel Aragon was in the Fulton County courtroom today.
Jeffrey Williams, a.k.a. rapper Young Thug, is on trial with 5 other co-defendants. The state right now trying to prove that some of those co-defendants are responsible for a shooting that dates back nearly a decade ago.
Investigator Smith, you're still under oath, okay?
After a week-long break, prosecutors in the YSL trial called up an Atlanta police investigator to the stand.
That is the barbershop, or one of the barbershop at 330 McDaniel Street.
The state's witness setting the scene of the 2015 murder of Donovan Thomas Jr., who was shot and killed in Atlanta's Castleberry Hill neighborhood. Defendants Shannon Stilwell and DeMonte Kendrick are charged in connection with the 2015 shooting. But defense attorneys say the defendants are not part of a gang or responsible for any of the crimes highlighted in court. On Tuesday, the Atlanta investigator pulling out a gun from a box marked as evidence and testified about images from the crime scene, including a black vehicle that appeared to be shot up in front of a barbershop.
There's 2 more evidence markers, number 23 and 24, that note the previous bullet defect.
Are these bullet defects also on the Lincoln Navigator that we just looked at in the prior state's exhibit?
Yes.
And yesterday marked 6 months of the trial, which will continue tomorrow with more witness testimony. In downtown Atlanta, Rachel Aragon, Atlanta News First.